Coming up next, I'll share the top 5 reasons workers are quitting now, and then why the Fed wants to force companies to a hiring freeze. Oh yeah, and 4 signs that your spouse is a freak, Johnny Depp style. Let's go. All right, folks, welcome to the Ken Coleman Show. We're helping you win at work and in life. I want you to make more money and make more impact. And that means you need a competitive edge because you're in a competition against you of yesterday and then maybe people in your company and then outside. And I'm going to coach you up. That's what this entire show is about, your competitive edge to make more money and more impact. Let's go. Top 5 reasons workers want to quit now. Where do we get this information? Flex Jobs surveyed U.S. employees in February and March. And the survey found that 30% of those employees are currently thinking about quitting. Duh. Everybody seems to be quitting. Everybody's not quitting, but I can tell you this. Everybody's thinking about quitting. It's just the nature of the game. 4.5 million people quit their jobs in March. April numbers, very close. We'll see what the May numbers are. Folks, this game of musical chairs doesn't appear to be slowing down. One of the main drivers of our inflation right now is the cost of salaries and hourly workers. So it's like, woohoo, hey, the man's been keeping me down. I'm going to go get a bigger paycheck, baby. It's my time. And you're right. It is a job seeker's market. No question about it. And I'm all for everybody making more money. It's one of the central themes of our shows to help you make more money, but also experience more meaning. And I can tell you this, if you're making more money in a crappy environment, you're going to wish that you were back in the old place. The paycheck wears off. But make no mistake, when Wendy's has to pay somebody $2 or $3 more an hour, the cost of your hamburger goes up. So, hey, we should be paid more. Great. Guess what? Things are going to cost more. So, we'll get to that in just a second. 5 reasons that these respondents gave for saying, take this job and shove it. A great old country song by Johnny Paycheck. Take this job and shove it. If you haven't heard that song before, go give it a listen. It's fantastic. It would be the theme song of the show, but I need to get in touch with Johnny Paycheck's estate and see if we get permission to use it. We have more important things to do. Number 1, reason that respondents gave for leaving their job, toxic company culture. 62% of respondents said they are leaving or will leave or have left because of a toxic culture. That's a leadership issue. More on that in a moment. Number 2, 59% said they left because of low salary. Now, I'm going to take the liberty, since my name's on the show, to kind of correct what they're saying there. When they say low salary, I don't think that they necessarily are saying that they have a low salary or that they even did have a low salary. What they're saying is, my salary ain't enough. It's lower than it should be. So thus, people are taking the carrots that companies are providing, getting a bigger paycheck. By the way, one of the downsides of all of this are the people who've been left behind. New workers are coming in, less experience, making as much as 15 to 20% more. Yikes. You want to talk about killing your culture? Well, I can't help it. As a leader, I got to hire people. I agree. But you're hiring somebody new to come in and do the same job, and they're making 15 to 20% more than the people that are left behind. They're gone. They're going to leave you too. It's only a matter of time. Number 3 reason that people left, poor management. Duh. 56% left because of poor management. That is a leadership issue as well. Number 4, 49% said they left because of a lack of healthy work-life balance. Number 5, 43% said they left because of no remote work. So it's very interesting because of all the headlines and all of the emotion that is around people saying, I don't want to go back to the office again. I like working at home, and I got no problem with people that want to work from home. I got no problem with it. There's some clown out on the internet on YouTube that takes shots at me because I talk about how remote work doesn't lend itself to great culture, and that's true. If he's watching right now, I'll come on your show and debate you. I forget what the guy's name is, but point is that don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm not anti-remote work. What I'm saying is that if you limit your options to professional growth just to remote work, I don't think that's a good strategy. Oh, Ken, you're such an idiot. Okay, all right. So let's go back to these results. Number one, 62% said toxic company culture. That is poor leadership that is allowing for the culture or contributing to the culture being crappy. So as a leader, you might go, well, I'm not doing anything that's specifically creating bad culture. Well, if you're allowing certain people and certain behaviors, which, by the way, the definition of culture is shared behaviors. So if you're allowing it, you are contributing to it. Poor management, poor leadership. I just came back last week. I was in Orlando speaking to our Entree Leadership Summit, and I talked about the 3 human needs that every human being has at work. Number 1, they want purpose and meaning in their work. Number 2, they want to be recognized for their unique contribution. By the way, that's publicly and privately. And 3, they want a relationship with their leader. Leaders, as you hear those 3 human needs laid out, if you aren't actively meeting those human needs, you aren't leading well. Period. Because let me tell you something. They will leave you if they don't feel like they have an opportunity for a better life, not just a better paycheck. Lack of healthy work-life balance. Some of that's on leaders. Some of it is the environment that we are in where people are leaving, and they're the leaders themselves, and those that are left behind are simply catching plates as they fall from the cupboard. I'm not making an excuse for it. I'm just saying we are in extraordinary times right now. So back to my further point, my point about leaders caring for their team. You got to care for them. Find ways to care for them extraordinarily, and they will stay with you longer. Leaders, if you take care of the people you have, they'll help you get the people you need. You're worried about engagement and retention. You're trying to come up with all these crazy strategies. How about just focusing on the people you have? Love on them. They won't leave you as quickly. So the solution to all of this, these reasons, are to find the right work in the right place. We have the Get Clear Career Assessment you can take at kencoleman.com. Find the right work means the right seat, and then the right place is the right bus. This will give you longevity and enjoyment in your work. Why? Because I think all of this seat hopping, musical chairs is going to eventually be a negative. Right now, people are going, woohoo, I got a bigger check. But if we are constantly moving out, we hurt our chances of moving up. I want you to get on the right bus, the right ship. You use the analogy you want and move up, not constantly looking to move out. That's why we do what we do here. You can do this. I'll coach you up. We have resources, free and paid, kencoleman.com. Don't move. Why the feds want a hiring freeze next. You were created to fill a unique role in this world. But figuring out what that is can feel overwhelming. That's why we created the Get Clear Career Assessment. In less than 15 minutes, you'll get customized results that clarify and verify what you do best, the work you love, and the results you want to produce. You'll even get a list of professional possibilities to help you jumpstart the job search. To get started, go to kencoleman.com/assessment. Welcome back to the Ken Coleman Show. Got a live chat room viewer here on YouTube. Said, Flashover 109, I just left my position and used Ken's Get Clear assessment to help. My manager was toxic. Very good for you, Flashover 109. That is awesome stuff. It is the Get Clear assessment. Really give you clarity on what purpose in your work looks like so you can actually look at job descriptions and match it up with your purpose statement, kencoleman.com to get it. Hey, my friends at ZipRecruiter are helping more and more people, getting more emails from you folks who are taking my advice to not let the job search, if you know it's time to move on, not let the job search be awful and boring and lonely and people, they, in today's world, everything's online. So you submit a bunch of resumes and you feel good about yourself and you sit back and wait, and then all you hear is, you know what I'm saying? The crickets. So ZipRecruiter helps you with that. ZipRecruiter is a free resource, and their artificial intelligence does all of the work for you. Yes, Samantha, the publicist, that is my sound effect. She is aghast in the control room that I have now my own sound button. So it's quite exciting. Thank you, Alex and Joe. Made my day. More sound effects coming if you people love them. But ZipRecruiter is going to make everything so much easier because they're out there pitching and recruiting for you. And when they send you a job opportunity, one click of the button means your resume goes, and because it's coming from Zip, who companies are paying for access to get you, talent, in their door for an interview, you're going to jump up to the top of the pack. ZipRecruiter.com. It's free. ZipRecruiter.com. Tell them I sent you. All right. Couple of stories to get to. My outrage meter is pretty high. Just a warning. Let's go. It's time for In the News. All right. If you're new to the show, this is not a political statement. This is not party affiliated. This is just philosophy related. I don't like big government. So don't let any of this shock you. If you're new to the show, I don't care who's in charge. I really don't. Dems, Republicans, I don't care. I don't like big government because I actually think you, the people, me and we, the people, are doing a better job and can do a much better job running our lives than they do. So anyway, little statement here before I get a little fired up. Here's a headline. The Fed wants corporate America to have a hiring freeze. What? So DataTrek co-founder Nicholas Colas is mentioned in this article. I believe this is Business Insider is the source of this. Yahoo, I apologize. This is from Yahoo. And this is his quote. Chairman Powell keeps mentioning the relationship between the high level of job openings and the wage price inflation. Now, I talked about this in the first segment of the show. There's no question that with all of the job openings and unemployment very low, wages go up, and then again, that causes inflation in other areas. So the Fed chairman, Jerome Powell, he knows this. And so he's talking to corporate America. He's mentioned this all the time. His goal is to have companies institute a hiring freeze and end the cycle of paying up for new hires. Let's just look at the latest data on consumer prices, the consumer price index. Inflation rose more slowly. This is where we're at now when we're saying things like this. Hey, guys, it rose slightly slower than March. In April, it was 8.3%. In March, it was 8.5%. So inflation growth rate is slowing, but inflation ain't slowing. IMG's James Knightley said declines in the annual rate of inflation are unlikely to materialize until there are significant, listen to this, folks, significant improvements in geopolitical tensions that would lower energy prices. Supply chain strains are fixed and labor market shortages are addressed. Unfortunately, there's little sign that any of this is happening soon. So let's just break this down, okay? For those of you who don't pay attention to the news every day, I'm the man of the people. I pay attention. Let me tell you what this means. We have geopolitical tensions with Ukraine, Russia, the Middle East, and what they're saying is these are the experts that are non-political, and they're going, we don't see any administration policies that are going to help us with energy costs anytime soon. Oh, by the way, the supply chain strain isn't getting any better anytime soon either. So now Jerome Powell thinks he's going to step in and convince and even threaten corporate America and small businesses from hiring people, as if that's going to fix it. Do you people hear this? The Fed's goal is to convince corporate America to enact a short-term hiring freeze. And it's going to keep raising interest rates and talking about more aggressive monetary policy until that happens. Lower stock prices are his way of convincing C-suites and boards to do that. This is, again, from Colas, who I quoted early in the article. So, folks, that's not even a veiled threat. That's just a straight up threat. Are you kidding me? The answer to the inflation problem is not a hiring freeze. But this is where we stand in America. It's unbelievable. I'm not going to go off any further, but I cannot believe that that is an openly discussed comment from the Federal Reserve Chairman. Like the government has any business telling private business what to do, first of all. And secondly, like they have any credibility to make something of a suggestion that would make sense. It's ridiculous. All right. Now, was it a couple of weeks ago? Next story. A couple of weeks ago, I talked about J.P. Morgan. And now it's J.P. Morgan Chase. And I talked about, was it a couple of weeks ago, Alex? I talked about how they were checking their employees' key fobs because their CEO, Jamie Dimon, had said, we have to have a hybrid work model. You got to be in the office 3 days a week, and 2 days you can be at home. Now, listen, I have no problem with any company instituting work policies and rules. I have no problem with it. But how they monitor it and how they do it can be so just screwed up that it actually does the reverse of what they're trying to do. And J.P. Morgan Chase has figured out a way to absolutely blow up their leadership influence. This is unbelievable. So I talked about the key fobs, but now it's come out that they have this system called Workforce Activity Data Utility. And all that is basically an app or a operating system that pulls in data points about their hundreds of thousands of employees. How long they spend on Zoom calls, how long they spend writing emails, how long they're on the phone. The data collection system has come to inspire rumors and fear throughout America's biggest bank. Yeah, shocking. Now, attorneys and experts are quick to point out that they are legally within their rights to gather information regarding employees' activities on the job. And they are. But I wrote this down, Alex. It's lawful, but it's also awful. There it is, folks. That's why I show up every day, to give you little nuggets like that. It's lawful, but it's awful. Why is it awful? Direct quote from one of their employees. It has fostered paranoia. You bet it has. It has fostered distrust. And to be honest with you, it's fostered a lot of disrespect. Of course it has. Of course it has. You treat adults like toddlers, you're going to increase paranoia. You treat adults like toddlers, oh, it's going to create distrust. They distrust you because you don't trust them. There's the irony of ironies. And if you treat adults like toddlers, guess what? They're going to buck up against your horrible leadership. So in your attempt to increase engagement and productivity, you are actually torpedoing it. I've mentioned the term nannyship. I created it. I like to create words from time to time. Again, it's my name's on the show, so I like to take license. See, nannyship is about monitoring. Leadership's about connecting. Let me unpack that. Hey, I wish I could sit with the leaders of J.P. Morgan and say, hey, you can figure out how productive your people are by actually connecting with them, by sitting with them knee to knee and eyeball to eyeball and diving in to say, hey, how are you doing in your personal life? Hey, how can I help you win in your job? Nannyship is about monitoring people, and it's never going to work. It's going to drive people away. But see, leadership is about connecting to people, and they're going to draw into you and stay with you. I don't know why this is so hard. Stop treating people like toddlers, you dolts. Did you know recruiters take an average of 6 seconds to scan a resume? And that's if they ever see it in the first place. In fact, 75% of resumes are rejected before reaching a hiring manager. Listen, folks, if you want to get hired, you've got to make sure your resume is getting noticed. That's why we created How to Write the Perfect Resume. This free guide will walk you through the 5 steps to stand out in the hiring process and land your dream job. To get started, go to kencoleman.com/resume. All right, folks, welcome back to the Ken Coleman Show. If you're watching live on YouTube or later on YouTube, would you give us a thumbs up and subscribe? We're having record growth in our YouTube show. And to be quite frank, when you give us a thumbs up right now, whether you're watching live or later, or you subscribe, YouTube pays attention to that, and that would help us. We want to spread the word. We want to be a lighthouse out there in this world of work so that people get the competitive edge to make more money and make more impact. And I'm your coach. It's time for our coaching session. I want to call out if you are a person who is brave enough to call in on Zoom, we are going to be offering this feature. And if you're stuck, maybe your home life is now being affected tremendously by your awful work life. You're stuck in a situation where you're afraid financially to make a move. You're in a career nightmare of sorts. Fell into a direction. Any of those calls, those are the calls we want to coach up because it hits so many people. Secondly, if you'd like to do it via Zoom, where you can see me and I could see you and I could read you better, email us, ask@kencoleman.com, ask@kencoleman.com, and we're going to start that Zoom feature where I can actually see you and read some of that body language, and I think it's going to just be so much more powerful for our audience. So if that's something that you're brave enough to do, and I know there's a lot of you out there that like being on camera, well, here's your big moment for a coaching session live on the show, ask@kencoleman.com. All right, Garrett's going to start us off in our coaching sessions today. He's in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Garrett, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hey, Ken. It's good to talk to you.
Great to talk to you, Garrett. How can I help today?
So, just a little background. I am 23 years old. I started working in my current position with a new company about 2 months ago, only making about $18 an hour.
Okay.
I left my previous job as a supervisor in state government for this new role. It was a pay decrease, but just the culture and the position itself at my age was kind of challenging. So my question is I do like the company that I'm at right now. The culture is great. But how should I go about trying to find a job in my sweet spot at this company? And is it okay for me to start kind of feeling things out after only being 2 months employed and potentially, giving up this position for a new position?
Well, I think it would be risky to start openly talking because you never know who you can trust. And so I think it would be very risky to start openly talking about other positions only being there 2 months. However, I don't think it's risky for you to start looking. So it's almost like you're little CIA spy and you're just kind of paying attention. You're crushing your day job right now, the job you're in. You got to crush it because you willingly took a pay cut to get out of a government culture and toxic culture. So you willingly took it and it's paid off from a culture standpoint. But obviously we want to start making more money eventually. So there's no rules as to when a company will promote you. But the last thing you want to be doing 2 months in is openly talking about other positions that you'd like. So what I would be doing is I'd be looking. So first homework assignment. You asked me, Ken, how do I find my sweet spot in this current company? Well, we got to know what the sweet spot is. We got to know, like we teach and like we provide you in the Get Clear assessment. If you don't know it, then get the Get Clear assessment. It's a 20, 25-minute assessment. It's going to give you a detailed report. Talent, what you do best. Passion, work you love to do. Mission, results that motivate you. And so where all three come together, I use what I do best, talent, to do work I love, passion, to produce results that matter to me, mission. If you know what your sweet spot is, great. If you don't, you got to figure out what that looks like. How do I define the sweet spot in purposeful work? Well, it's that. I'm using what I do best to do work I love to produce results that matter to me. So once we know that, now we actually know what to look for. And so now we begin to look, we keep our mouth shut, we begin to look without saying anything in the company, go, I think this is a possible spot. I think this is. And so now that I'm in the building, I'm able to see it up close. I'm able to learn who the leader is over there. What does it look like? How often do people get promoted? Is there a development program? What is HR's role? It's like you find out everything you need to find out without tipping anybody off. Now, I want to stop there for a second to make sure you're still up to speed with me. You on the same page?
Yep, absolutely. And I've actually taken your Get Clear career assessment.
Oh,
so
good.
I think I have all my talents, passions, and mission written down here. And
Good.
I think based off of where everything's aligning, I could see myself in some form of recruiting.
Good.
Because just again, based off my experience as a leader, as a team supervisor, being 23 years old, I don't want to sound conceited or entitled, but based off my experience, I just feel like I'm worth more and could be doing more.
Well, you are.
To influence the company.
You are, and you can. You are worth more, and you can get promoted, but you just got there.
Right.
So both of those feelings and thoughts about yourself are true. But we just don't want to step on toes. We want to show them that you're a rock star where you are. The best way to get promoted is to win the now. We win the now, and winning the now gives us the opportunity for the next. Because they're going to start telling you, man, you're doing great. You're doing great. You're crushing it. And then it gives you natural onboarding conversations to have to say, you know what, I really have enjoyed this. I love this culture. Eventually, I'm pretty sure I want to get into recruiting for this place.
Gotcha.
But those conversations will present themselves naturally. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yep, I gotcha. So
give you one little fun challenge, because I want you all to understand that I had to learn this lesson the hard way, Garrett. When I was going into broadcasting, I knew that I had the chops, but I also knew that very other few people had the same belief that I did. I had to prove that I could do it. But I'm the most impatient person on the planet. Analyze, but also recovering. I know, Nathan, it's true. And I came up with a saying for myself because I was about to lose my mind with impatience. And here's what I came up with. Ken, and you have to win the now, or there is no next. And so I wrote this down in my journal. And I'm rewriting it in my head right now, folks, and somebody else needs to hear this, not just Garrett. Don't obsess about the next, Ken, because you'll miss what you need in the now and ultimately sacrifice the next. So what I needed in the now was to learn basic broadcasting skills. What I needed in the now was to make good connections in the broadcasting world. What I needed in the now was an opportunity just entry level to show that I actually had the chops. I needed to crush it in those opportunities. And had I not done that, I would have never made it to this chair today. So be patient is the lesson from all of Ken's failures. And that's just one example. I blew some opportunities because I wasn't willing to wait. Once I figured it out, Joe, that I was going to have to show up at WDUN in Gainesville, Georgia on a Saturday and pay them $250 for an hour at 2:00 on Saturday afternoon when only people were listening was Joe and my wife. When I figured that out, that I had to win the now in order to ever have a chance to get to the next. When I figured that out, that's when I developed this muscle called patience. I tell you though, patience isn't very sexy. Do you know what's sexy? People love to talk about persistence. Oh yeah, I got up today and I hustled and I did this and I did that and I sat outside in the rain for 12 hours. I did. You know what? I'm all for persistence. But can I just tell you, you will eventually run out of that hustle mode if you don't learn the discipline of patience. Persistence is a discipline. Get up out of bed and sharpen that axe and grease it, whatever you do to an axe, Joe, I don't know, and just start whacking on that tree. That's persistence. But it is patience to keep swinging the axe until you can't swing it anymore. And you go back home and rest. And then you get up the next day and whack that tree one more time or two or three or four. And it is the patience that allows me to have the persistence necessary to chop that tree down. Oh, persistence is sexy, but patience is where success lies.
You were created to fill a unique role in and through your work. Now, some of you may be going, I have no idea what that is. Some of you may be saying, I know what I want to do, but I don't know how to get there. I felt all of those emotions. I've been where you are, and I can tell you, there's hope. That's why I wrote the book, From Paycheck to Purpose. You can make the income you want and the impact that you desire, and I know that you have what it takes.
Welcome back to the Ken Coleman Show. We're giving you the competitive edge to win at work and in life. More money, more impact. We're in our coaching session. You can jump in at any time. 844-747-2577 is the phone number. 844-747-2577. Let's go to Boston, Massachusetts. John is on the line. John, how can I help?
Hey, Ken. Thanks for taking my call.
You bet. What's up today?
Okay, I can give you a quick rundown here.
Okay.
I'm a 24-year-old CPA, and I just finished my MBA program.
Oh, congratulations.
When I was going through school, thank you. When I was going through school, it was always the plan to switch over to a Big Four firm. I've been working at a mid-sized public accounting firm in audit while I was doing my MBA part-time. But now that I have offers in hand, it kind of seems like a move no one would make. They're less money than I make at my current firm. And historically, Big Four firms, you work many more hours with a lot more toxic culture.
Okay.
But the benefit is getting that Big Four name on my resume. So I guess my question is, how important is it to go to a large firm like that just to get the name on my resume if it means sacrificing quality of life?
Boy, you did a wonderful job of just about answering your own question there, John. That was really good. Really good breakdown. I think you have the answer, not me. So let's just stay here. Now, this is assuming that all of the Big Four are toxic. I mean, can we really prove that?
No. And a lot of times I think it comes down to office location
100%.
and
comes down to the leader.
Teams and industries.
Comes down to the leader you're working for. Let's just boil this down. So let's just assume, though, to answer your question, I don't assume that all accounting jobs for Big Four firms are toxic. I refuse to believe that. All right, but let's just play your idea out. Let's say they are. All right, and so you have to answer the question. Let's assume you get a job with one of the Big Four, so now you got the shiny name on your resume. How long would you be willing to put up with true toxicity before you said, all right, I've had enough, I'm out?
Well, truth be told, I'm really only trying to stay in accounting for 2 or 3 years and then switch into FP&A or consulting role.
Okay, so is that the answer? Would you be willing to put up with it? I want you to really think through this. Would you really be willing to put up with true toxic work environment, no work-life balance, working crazy hours, being treated like a commodity for 2 to 3 years?
I guess it depends on if I really need to do that.
And so that's my next question. That's my next question. How long would you have to be at a Big Four and get that on your resume to then make the transition based on what you know, what research, your gut feeling, all of that tied together? How long would you need to be at that place before you could technically cross over?
I would say the majority of people leave after they make senior associate, so about 2 years.
Okay, then. So we're back to 2 years. Are you willing to put up with that for 2 years?
I don't want to, but
I didn't ask you that.
I look at a lot.
There's no wrong answer, by the way. I want to know because, listen, I'm a guy that understands more than most. Folks, okay, I did high school football play-by-play on the internet for a year driving an hour and a half on Friday nights away from my wife and kids. It sucked. But I knew I had to get some of that really entry-level experience to have the chance to be where I sit today. So, John, I understand that there is a certain amount of suffering involved. That's why I call work you love passion. The root word of passion is pati in the Latin, and it means to suffer. Am I willing to suffer working out? Am I willing to suffer eating low calories? Am I willing to suffer giving up sugar and carbs to lose 30 pounds? That's another analogy. Are you willing to suffer, John, for 2 years to cross over because you think that's going to look better on your resume? What's the answer? Yes or no?
Yes, I think so.
Then do it, because here's what the news that I've got for you. The news is I don't think you have to be at a Big Four and have that on your resume to get where you want to go. I don't think anybody in this world gives a crap about name brands. You know what leaders care about that would hire you? Does John have the skill? Does John have the experience? Does John have the character? Is John a good culture fit? That's what I think leaders care about. They don't care if you work through the Big Four. So you can try it your way. And when it gets too much to handle, I just watched Top Gun this weekend, so this is relevant. Hit the eject button, baby. And then go to another company, and you can still get where you want to go. I appreciate the call, John. Your decision. I believe in you.
Do you know what you were born to do? In order to get hired at a job you love, you need to get clear on your talent, passion, and mission. That's why our team created the Career Clarity Guide. In just a few minutes, this free tool will walk you through a process to discover what you do best, talent, the work you love to do, passion, and the results you want your work to produce. That's mission. Then you're going to feel way more confident throughout the job search process. To get started, go now to kencoleman.com/clarity.
All right, folks, coming up, I told you at the start of the program that I was going to address a very sticky issue. And here it is. 4 signs that your spouse is a freak. All right? And I'm going to unpack this. You're going, why are you doing this, Ken? I'm going to tell you why. Johnny Depp has lost millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars because of his spouse. And it's in the news, and it's in the jury right now. And I am a man of the people, and I thought, you know what? A lot of you people are in horrible, horrible relationship situations, or you're dating someone that you think is crazy, and I want to rescue you. Because if you got a crazy freak of a spouse, it's going to ruin your professional life. So I'm going to warn some of you and help others. That's coming up in just a minute, but real quick, Becca from Salt Lake City, Utah is on the line. Becca, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hey, Ken. So grateful to talk to you today.
Good to talk to you. How can I help?
So I have a question about what kind of job I'm qualified for, and also what kind of work I would enjoy. I am recently pregnant. So
congratulations.
Thank you. I was going to school, and I had to drop out because I was sick. And now that I'm feeling better, I want more structure and momentum in my life. Mm-hmm. Financially, we're doing okay, but I would like to work because I get really excited about the baby steps, and I want to help out.
Good.
And yeah.
So here's the deal. I know that when someone like you calls me, that you have a couple of ideas, maybe one idea that's kind of sticking out a little bit more than others. And I want you to just share it with me, no matter how confident you are in describing it, or maybe you don't know if you can get there or not. I still want you to tell me what's at the top of your mind.
Well, I'm scared to tell you because I know how Dave feels about artists, but
Oh, no, wait a second. Wait, time out. Last I checked, this was the Ken Coleman Show.
Yeah, I know.
All right, so on this show, nobody needs to worry about telling me their ideas. So go ahead.
Okay. So I am an art major. I do oil portraits, and last year I only made like $5,000 from it.
How many paintings did that equal?
I got probably I think I had 20 clients, and then 10 of those were very small commissions.
Okay, that's fine. So you are an artist, and I imagine that you have artistic talent beyond just oil painting. True?
True.
That's where I'd be going. So can you make the kind of money you want to make as an oil painter right now? Probably not. It's going to take you time. But I would tell you to never let that go. I would continue to do it on the side. Let's see if we can make $10,000 this year. What would need to be true for you to take those 20 clients and turn them into 40, or take those 20 clients and get more money oil paint? So I would continue to keep that alive. However, for a more consistent day job, 40-hour week job, to make more money to help your husband pay off your debt in the baby steps, what artistic talents with a minimal amount of qualifications could you get those qualifications and do that? Maybe it's graphic design. Maybe it's interior decorating. Maybe it's whatever. But your artistic talent is not limited to just oil painting. So I would be finding, where do I take my artistic talent, my eye, and my creativity, and turn that into a job where I'm 40 hours a week or 30 hours a week making $15, $20 an hour. That's where I would be exploring that while continuing to paint on the side. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. Those jobs scare me because there's a high, I guess there's just a lot of people who want graphic design and art teaching jobs, and I don't have a degree. So
you don't need it? No, wait. You're looking for jobs that don't require a degree.
Right.
You're scared of a monster that's actually not under the bed.
Okay.
You're just afraid of the unknown. Welcome to the human race.
Definitely.
Seriously, I'm terrified of the unknown. That's why I'm so daggum inquisitive. Freaks me out, man, when I don't know stuff. I got it. You know what the answer to the fear of the unknown is go get knowledge. What are those artistic type jobs, creative type jobs where you can go make some good money right now and it don't require a college degree or, quite frankly, much qualification at all? Don't tell me those don't exist, Becca. You know they do, don't you?
Yes, definitely.
All right, Becca.
For sure.
I give you permission to just go do it. Go. Right now. I'm hanging up on you. You got jobs to find. Go, go, go. All right. I got to pivot to this because we have so many people that come from all different walks of life. So this content, inspired by Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, is actually going to help a lot of you. Because if you're in a relationship with somebody and you think they might be a little bit crazy, they might be a freak, I am here to tell you to pump the brakes. Pump the brakes. Because if your spouse is a freak, they're going to ruin not just your personal life, but your professional life. And here we go. 4 signs that your spouse is a freak. Number 1, or your girlfriend or your boyfriend. Number 1, they're controlling. They're always controlling you. You feel like everything's got to go through them, constantly controlling what you say, your schedule. Everything is control, 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 control. Folks, you ever heard the phrase control freak? Come on. Careful in those dating relationships. If you see control freak breaking out, whoa, I'm slowing down. What's underneath that? What causes them to be so controlling? It's only going to get worse once you put a ring on it. Number 2, verbally abusing you. Verbally abusing you. I got to tell you something. I've seen some of the clips of this Amber Heard, Johnny Depp trial. Johnny Depp's one of the biggest stars in the world. And I'd never even heard of Amber Heard before. But in their dating relationship, she was doing this stuff, this verbal abuse, whether you believe it or not. I've heard it. I don't know what he did to her. I'm not taking his side. Everybody relax. What I'm saying is, if you've heard these clips, she verbally abused this dude. All right? Guys do it to women. Women do it to guys. This is not for one sex or the other to control all this nuttiness. If you feel verbally abused, like you are being attacked verbally, pump the brakes. Again, what's behind this? Number 3, sign that your spouse or significant other is a freak. Paranoid and jealous. Paranoid, always feeling like they're the victim. Either you're causing it, someone else is causing it. They're crazy jealous of you. Whoa, I mean, Watch out. Pump the brakes. What's going on underneath this? There is severe pain and trauma underneath all of this junk that is coming out in this relationship. And if they don't get healthy, there is no escaping the destruction in your relationship, and this stuff will spill over into your professional life. Number 4 sign that your spouse or significant other is a freak. They threaten you. They threaten you. No, we talked about the verbal abuse, but I'm talking they threaten you physically. They threaten you financially. They threaten you physically. Everything's a threat. They're constantly dropping threats out there, and you feel as though you are trapped. One wrong move, boom, they're coming after you. Coming after your jugular. I mean, just boom, coming after you. Now, let me tell you something. I am in no way trying to have fun with this. I'm just telling you, I watched that Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, and I watched it later because I'm at work. And they tell you, listen, I've seen so many professional careers derailed because you let crazy into your relationship. And you can love them dearly, but if they're crazy, you don't need to marry them. Help them. Get them help. Get them professional counseling. Be brave enough, be honest enough to go, hey, I love you, but this ain't normal. And we can't do life together. This idea that I'm going to put a ring on it and commit to you over marriage vows and it's suddenly going to get better is a fairy tale that will turn into a nightmare. Now, again, I'm not saying who's right or wrong in this trial. The jury will decide. But if you look at how much money Johnny Depp has already lost, and by the way, he's a disaster with his money. Let's call that out. But reputation, people don't want to be around you. You can't work to your best when your personal life's a dumpster fire. Please be careful with who you marry. This is the Ken Coleman Show. Press on.
Thanks for listening to the Ken Coleman Show. For more, you can find the show on demand wherever you listen to podcasts and watch the show on YouTube. You can also find Ken across all social media by following @Ken Coleman.